Hey, welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Hope you're doing well. So today I thought we would discuss a topic that's been covered by a lot of different YouTubers, and I thought I would throw my 2 cents into this discussion. This is creating a perfect watch collection for under a specific amount of money, and today I thought we would do the perfect watch collection for under $5,000. I know a lot of other YouTubers have made videos like this, so I thought I would, just show you kind of where I would come from if I had this option and I had to, put together a collection of watches that I think I would enjoy for a very long time for under $5,000. So just before we start, I would like to just make sure that we make a few assumptions, and so these are said up front so you know where my picks are coming from. The first is the prices of each of these watches are based on the market that I'm working within. Obviously prices vary. If you're in the US, they vary on state, they could vary by country or region of the world. So these prices of the watches that I'm going to be talking about are based on the market that I'm working in and one that I could possibly, and I think these are extremely attainable prices for these watches. The second, and probably the most important assumption that I'm going to be making is that this is based on my taste. It's my opinion. These watches that I'm going to be discussing for under the collection is really to my taste and how I would build this collection. It may be very different to yours, but that's okay. And I think that's why these videos are cool, because we can see where tastes align and where tastes don't align. I would love to hear what your collection for under $5,000 is. So up front, I can say, put it in the comments. Let me know what your perfect watch collection for under $5,000 is. While you're there, don't forget to hit the like button. It really does help us out with the YouTube algorithm. As always, it's a very important part about making videos on YouTube and also if you like these types of videos, be sure to hit the subscribe button. So that was my second assumption, is it's based on my tastes. The second is this collection I'm going to be building is 3 pieces. This isn't the only 3 pieces that I would put together, but this is the one that I'm going to be discussing today. Maybe I'll make a follow-up video where I put together another 3 pieces that would be under $5,000. So these are not the only 3 pieces, and I think this is a good 3-piece collection for under $5,000 for those who are entering into the hobby of watch collecting. It's inevitable that your taste will change over the lifespan of you kind of researching watches, consuming watch content. So this is kind of a great way to enter into the hobby, and I'm sure there are changes that you'll make just looking back at if this was your collection. So those are my assumptions. Wanted to put them at the top of this video so that you understand where I'm coming from with what I'm saying. So the first piece, and it probably will come as no surprise to many of you, is a watch that basically every collector should own, and that is a Seiko SKX007. I priced this at about $250. This is honestly one of the best watches that you can get for the value, for the money that you're putting down into it. This is a really great everyday watch. It's a great way to enter into the hobby. It's a tried and true watch, very, very robust beater. And I mean, you can put extra money into it and get some really cool straps or modify it if that's what you're kind of into, but I would just take a base SKX007. Everyone really should own a Seiko at some point in their life, and I think the 007 is a perfect way for you to enter into owning Seiko watches. Robust movement, obviously not the most accurate. I know there's a lot of variation with the way in which they keep time, but it's a great everyday watch. Very, very understated, not super loud, and for $250 is a great price. And it leaves you with a lot of room throughout your collection to you have a little bit more money for the other pieces that you're looking to purchase. So the first piece is the Seiko SKX007. So we're at $250. Now the second piece, and this may differ by taste, but I think this is one of the best values for money watches that you can purchase, and that is a Tudor Black Bay. I would go for the black version, black dial, black bezel. These I priced at about $2,500, but it might go a little bit higher, but that's where I'm gonna kind of base it off of. I think the trend for this very sporty, diverse stainless steel watch is obviously at the forefront of everyone's mind within the watch collecting community. I think this is a very, very good value when you look at the when you look at the breadth of divers that you can get within the watch industry, I think the Tudor Black Bay is the perfect kind of middle ground where you can get to. They do make these with the in-house movements, but they also have ETA movements if that's more your speed. You want something a little bit more just simple, and obviously more priced a little bit better. The price that I said, obviously 2,500 is quite low, but I think it's definitely attainable if you know the right people and are able to negotiate with those individuals for the watch on the secondhand market. I think it's a very, very good looking watch. It fits really, really nicely on most people's wrists, even on mine, which are relatively small. It's just a great diver to have, and you kind of are with that trend, which I guess I've spoken about this often. You shouldn't really go with the trends, what people always like. You shouldn't have that kind of mindset when it goes into collecting, but if you are into following trends, obviously this is a great way to do it. You get the great heritage of Tudor with its relationship with Rolex. You get great craftsmanship that obviously is tried and true, just based on the longevity of the brand, and it's a beautiful looking piece. I think that's the most important part, right? Yeah, so the first, obviously, like I said, is the Seiko SKX. Second is the Tudor Black Bay. Our budget right now is at about 2,750, which honestly leaves quite a big chunk of money that you can spend on your third piece. And this is where I had some difficulty because I didn't really know. You could go in any direction here. I was thinking perhaps trying to pick up a Omega Speedmaster, which would be cool because you get the chronograph complication as well as the great story behind the Speedmaster. But you know, price-wise, you might be pushing it a little bit. So I wrote something that's kind of true to my heart, and that's a vintage Omega Seamaster. And I know what you're saying. You can pick these up for, you know, anywhere from $400, as low as $400, and I totally understand that. But I think I want to use this piece as a very special part of this three-piece collection under $5,000. So I'm actually setting a budget for your Omega Seamaster, vintage Omega Seamaster, at $1,500. The reason why I'm doing that is because I think this is a great opportunity for you really to indulge in becoming a part of the true watch collecting community. I think what needs to happen is you take your $1,500 and you go to an auction and you get one that's in impeccable condition with its original box and original papers. Box and papers are the argument can go either way. Some people really, they only collect watches if they have box and papers for them. Some people are like, it doesn't really matter. I think this is a perfect way for you to get truly integrated into the watch community by going to an auction, meeting people who are interested in the hobby, and experiencing the way in which live auctions work, because I think it's a great experience for you to have. Second, I think getting box and papers for this watch will allow you to understand if that box and papers is a big part of your personality, if it's a personality trait that you want to take forward in your watch collecting journey. And also, I think it allows you to experience what a vintage watch would be, what a true vintage watch was like when it was first produced, if you get one in great condition with all the accessories. It's a perfect way to kind of, you know, just to have a little piece of the vintage watch community with you. It also is a great piece. First off, I mean, the versatility is great. It's a great dress watch. You've got very sporty watches for the first two, so it's a great dress watch. Omega has an amazing heritage and an amazing vintage community at Omega that will answer questions for you and really takes care of those who are interested in the heritage of the company. And lastly, it's a great story. You can tell a story about how you went to auction and purchased this watch and made sure it had all box and papers and all that stuff. But also, when you pass it down to your son, you can say, this is one of my first watches that I purchased, and bring to life that past for that watch. You can get a great, you know, 500 movement, 500 movement from Omega in one of these Seamasters. I think that's a way to kind of round out your collection really nicely with a story, which is what Life on the Wrist is all about. So that brings our budget to $4,250. Let me me just make sure I did the math. Yep, $4,250. So you have a little bit of extra money there. But as I said, this was a collection under $5,000. I think that leaves room based on negotiations. Perhaps the Tudor Black Bay is a little bit more expensive. Perhaps the Omega Seamaster is a little bit more expensive just based on the fact that you're going to auction for it. So I think that's my three-piece collection that I would put together for under $5,000. So as I said, the first one is a Seiko SKX, the second is a Tudor Black Bay. I would go with the black bezel, black dial, and the last is a vintage Omega Seamaster from auction. So let me know what you think about my three-piece collection for under $5,000. It's definitely my taste. I think it exemplifies my taste, and as I said, this is for someone entering into the hobby who's just getting started. Your taste will inevitably evolve over your lifetime within the watch community, so it's a great starting three-piece collection. So let me know what you think about my collection. Let me know what your collection would be for under $5,000. Would love to hear that. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. It really does help us out with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel if you like watch videos. We make them 3 times a week, most weeks. So definitely subscribe to us if you're interested. And with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.